What's up, everyone? Carmine Danisco here on the Launch Network. We got an awesome podcast, the Shark Tank Effect, for you today. We've been talking to a lot of Shark Tank people that are on the show, in the show, selling. It's been a lot of fun, especially coming from some of our events where the Shark Tank winners have been out there in full force. And the man behind the scenes, the man in front on the stage, Mr. Christopher Guerrero. Let's bring him on. What's up, Eb?
Hey, Carmine, what's happening? We're getting a lot of traction now.
Oh,
a lot of Shark Tank companies, additional from what we already have. This great network want to be part of it, and now we're getting more opportunities at these large national shows.
Yep.
To be the showcase for the Inventor Corner, where inventors can truly pitch to top talent in the industry, successful companies, entrepreneurs that have really gone through all of it, and it's just continued to open up. Talk about that a little bit, Carmine. Like the new one, the health and beauty show.
Yeah, it's amazing when, you come back from a show. I mean, we had 3 shows back to back to back, from January up until early or the end of, the beginning of March. I mean, to do 3 shows, big shows like that was insane. And then to start getting more Shark Tank people, but also people that are putting on events already, looking to bring what you're doing, Chris, what we're doing at the UIA, to their event because they see the value of it. And there's another show, I think it's in Miami and one in Vegas. They do it twice a year. It's called Cosmo Profits. It's a health and beauty and different types of products like that. We'll get the breakdown for everyone of this. And, that's a great market. And we would love to be involved with something like that. Not only, being twice a year where we can help more people, but, Miami and Vegas, 2 of the great places to go. And then after that, we're going to have Super Zoo. And we're working on some other shows that people are reaching out. I mean, every couple of days, you're getting the Shark Tank person and a show reaching out to you, right, Chris?
Yeah. And there's a couple of confidential TV shows now.
Yep.
That they're looking for us to kind of be a feeder for their events so that they can do some live pitching. Well, with all that said, our guest today, Dan Cass, has launched quite a few products. He's always flashing his patents, so he's got quite a few patents, and I think he understands what it takes to really launch products. So let's bring Dan in, and his latest product, I'll let him talk about it, is the Liddle Speaker. I call it the Liddle Speaker with the loud noise. It's a really nice speaker. It's small but pretty powerful. So welcome, Dan.
Hey, thanks, guys. A pleasure to be here. It's been a fun ride. Yeah, I've been inventing for quite some time. Actually, I'll give you a 2-minute overview of my background. So just so everybody knows on the cast here. So when I started my career, I was actually out in the field of electrical, and I hit my apex really early on, and I got bored, and I didn't like it. Right? Guys like me get bored. We always got to find things that we like to do. So, anyways, I got headhunted and actually picked up by an automotive company. They asked me to work on the electric car back in 2000, back in Japan. And so my job was the wires and the cables and the connecting to the battery. So when you think about it, I worked on the electric vehicles 23 years ago, and that's all we hear today. And so it's like old for me. I mean, there's always changes, but I was one of the pioneers in the early stage, which kickstarted my career of creative thinking. So I was trained by the Japanese actually to be a reverse engineer. And, I made companies a lot of money. And so I just never got the big rewards like the companies got. And so I decided to take that leap of faith and become an entrepreneur and invent stuff myself. And, it's not easy because working for a $17 billion company at the time, privately owned, we put a booth up. Everybody knows us. They come and see us. And so when I became an inventor, entrepreneur, and I go to these conferences and I'd open up my booth and I'd make it look all fancy, but nobody would come. Nobody knew me no more. So I had to build a brand. I had to build a name, and that's kind of where I did. And, I built a couple of cool products, but my latest product is actually the Liddle Speaker, which is a Bluetooth speaker. It magnetizes right to the back of your phone or anything metal. And we actually made, a little ring for the speaker that actually can attach, because it's got adhesive on it, and you just put it on a wall. So I can put it on wood, plastic, glass. It goes everywhere. So our technology is based on the magnetics inside the housing. There's magnetic speakers out there, but it's on the outside. So what we did is we actually encapsulated it inside the plastic housing And then we have other proprietary areas inside that gives it that big mouth, like you said, the great sound. Because if you look at it, it's shaped like a bell or a horn, right? All that energy has to come out of there. And that's how we got it to make that deep bass and stuff. So it's a cool product that we launched. It's been going great, and we're still raising capital in the technology that we're in because I keep advancing technology, and that's what I do. So it's a fun thing to do. If I could share any advice for any inventors listening, everybody always files a patent and they'll do a design, or they'll do a design in a utility or vice versa. But once they get their patent, they always stop. And so the biggest mistake inventors make is they don't file a continuation filing patent. And so that means you got guys like me that's a reverse engineer could look at it and say, I can work on this and go right around this. So it's no difference. I try to tell everybody, it's like catching a mouse in a room. If we're all in the same room, we got to catch that mouse, a different way. We know he's in there. We're all on the same real estate. How do I make it different than someone else? So that's what guys like myself do.
Dan, you mentioned automotive, which I found, my background is automotive. I think that's how you and I think we met at one of the shows. We'll talk about that a little bit at the hardware show when you were actually pitching. But I was involved in analog braking, right? Before, that was in the 80s, before anybody knew what that was. I was the engineer behind all of it. Pretty cool technology. Then talk about the onboard vapor recovery system, right? I was involved with that tire program, which had 1/8-turn gas cap, which really revolutionized the industry for Ford. And everyone copied them after that. They all came up with their own type of cap, but it was a complete system from the pump, fuel system, right up through the filler neck to the cap that sealed off any permeation to the atmosphere. And if you did leave your cap off, because it was such a closed loop system, it would give you an error message on your dash. But what I find was that automotive made me very structured, very detailed, very cost effective and efficient, which obviously I took into my own business and into my own technology of launching products and how to be competitive in the market. To talk about that, when you launch a product, right? I always say it's not for the weak, for one, right? Everyone thinks licensing is easy. Licensing is not that easy either. It's still a grind, and then you don't get all the benefits of launching. But launching is different in the sense it's really time consuming. It's heavy on capital. So talk about that. How did you actually? Maybe we can just focus on Liddle Speaker. How did you get that launched, and how did you raise capital? How did you get it to retail and on the shelf?
Yeah, great question. So when I went on my own, back in 2015, it's a leap of faith. You're just taking your own money, your own time, and you're trying to make somebody out of something, right? Because again, and I'm not working for corporate anymore, so I'm a nobody. My name just kind of fell off. So first thing I had to do was, obviously write a strategic patent. And what I did is I actually created a shelf platform. My patents are in audio, video, and electronic charging. So that's my core. So what I did is I actually started doing pitch contests, and I went to my local county, which is the economic development. Each state has their counties, which economic development, and sometimes they're paired together depending on their size. So we actually pitched to them. So my very first pitch, I won, I think, $5,000 on a pitch contest, showing my product, as a prototype. Here's what it can do. And then, and then I pitched again. I started in production, and then I pitched again to a regional, and I won that one too. So I won $7,500. And then I pitched to the statewide one, and I won that one too. So that's how I kickstarted raising money. So I started getting our local communities involved, the people that, that we pay, our politicians, they were all at our meetings, everybody in the economic groups. And they said, this guy's got something very unique. So they invested in me. And so that's where it started. Then I led it myself into angel investors. It's not easy. I mean, we're always raising capital because when you're in tech like us, our tech changes rapidly. And so that's why I say we have to file continuation filings, because the copycats are going to come. So I got to stay 3 steps ahead of them. And as I do, and you being in automotive, everything that we worked on, it was always 5 to 8 years out, no matter what. It took me 5 years to get something off the ground. And I still look at that same platform as I build something. all right, I built this little speaker, how long is it going to take me to get it really to the mass market? Well, I just over a little year now. So, and I finally cracked into the big box stores, and I got these cards here, guys. So, and if anybody, that's all you entrepreneurs are out there listening, there's companies like Lowe's where I went to, they have pitch contests. So we're talking about raising money, right? So once you raise money, you get to the next level where you learn how to pitch properly, sell your product, build your brand. So we got invited into the blue over at Lowe's, and I got these little cards in front of me. So when you get invited in, you got to get, you got to do your little pitch in front of some buyers. And if they give you a blue, you move on to the next round. So we got a blue, right? And then we got a gold. Here we are, we're at a gold ticket.
This is like
Then we got the
American
platinum.
Idol. I think,
Yeah.
did you have to sing your way through this as well? This is like
Well, then we
American
got the
Idol,
platinum.
gold ticket.
So the way it works for those guys, they put a dollar value on each one of these pieces of paper. You're going to get a purchase order. Either you're going to get 50,000, 100,000, or 200,000. Well, we got the platinum, so we were up at the top. I think there was 15 companies that made it to the top, and there was thousands of submittals worldwide because there's international companies coming in too to give their pitch. But Lowe's pared it down to about 125. And we made it to the top and met the executive team, and they loved our product.
So Dan, that's a great milestone, but like you didn't just come up with a speaker and then launch it and in 6 months have it on in Lowe's, right? How long did that take, that whole process? I mean, that was years, right?
No, it took us about a year to get to Lowe's.
No, but to get to Lowe's, but not from the time you developed the speaker.
Oh yeah, no, when we started developing the speaker.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going into we have the iPhone 14 today, where everybody's working on the 15.
Yeah.
I started before the iPhone 12
There you go.
on the development side of this. That's what
So
we
he's talking
started.
about it took a year to get into Lowe's, but he'd been working on it for years prior.
Oh yeah,
to that.
yeah. This has been about 3 years now.
Right.
So
Yeah, so that's
you're
what I'm
absolutely
saying.
right.
Like,
It
so
doesn't
that
happen overnight.
no, right.
So-
And that was my point, that it's like it's a grind, right? It's a grind.
It
You got to
is.
keep doing it, keep showing it. I mean, look at you and I met at the hardware show in what was it, April last year, right? That's
Yeah.
the first time you actually were pitching to our Shark Tank panel. Interesting enough. And I love the speaker, and I took it home and used it. And I said, wow, I mean, I have a bunch of small speakers. I think it was another small speaker. But when you listen to it and you're able to show it and demonstrate it, it makes a big difference, because I was like, wow, it's pretty good. I mean, it sounds pretty loud, and it sounds clear. And you're right, it's got some decent thump to it. So I was thoroughly impressed. And you and I started talking about, your background, my background. Obviously, you're electrical and mechanical, but all in the automotive. So there's a lot of synergies. And that's obviously led us to do some other things together. So now that you got Lowe's interested, what happens next?
So when we cracked into Lowe's, they reached out to us and they said, we love the speaker. Actually, Cobalt's 25th anniversary, Cobalt Tools, right? And so they go, by any chance, can you make us a Cobalt Tools speaker? And I said, I can. And so I'll just show you guys, there it is right there. So that's their packaging that we did, So we ended up supplying them 3,000 of these pieces right here for Cobalt. The big celebration event, a 25th anniversary, along with their strategy meeting. And what this did is it allowed all their buyers, all their stores, all their managers, directors, executive team under one roof, and my products in their hand, evaluating it. And so now they came back to us and said, hey, we love it, but you gotta make the box more friendly for retail. So they came back to me and said, hey, Dan, can you put a window in your box? And so there it is right there. So now we put a window in our packaging. So we're working with Lowe's right now on new designs and the product, and we're in discussion of which way it's going to go. So we already got a purchase order from the platinum ticket, Now we're working on, being in every store in the US with Lowe's. And we actually have what they call a side stack, where you walk in, when you walk in at Christmas time and you go into the little tool area, they have all these side stacks with all this product you can buy. That's where we're going to be. We already designed the side stack. So we're we're working on all that excitement right now. So
So I want to talk about that packaging for a second. This is an interesting conversation. I can't tell you how many people think their packaging is great. Like they don't want to listen to anybody. They want to add all kinds of text on it. They want you to read a book on it and their life story on it. And you tell them that's not what the retail people are looking for. They're looking for something quick and easy. They want to attract people. I mean, the general rule is what, 5 feet, 5 seconds. They want to attract you over to hold it. The fact that you brought it in, you brought your packaging in, showed them, and they were like, yeah. Because honestly, when you just, my first impression, you showed me, put up the box, the first box without the window. Put it up again.
yeah, I'll put them side by side.
Okay, so
Look
you
at 'em.
showed me that thing. The first thing I said to myself, it's not sexy enough. That was the first comment I was going to tell you after our podcast. And then they also told you the same thing. At a window. Boom. So you listen to
Exactly.
them, right? You're getting
Yep.
feedback from people that know what they're doing, know what sells in retail, and you listened and did it. And they got great
Yeah,
feedback, right?
there's no doubt about it. Now
And you
actually
received
see
with
the
another
product.
contract.
Yeah, you see the product. I mean, it's incredible. And, you know, because you got to get them within 3 seconds. And then, you know, and then everybody likes to see what's inside the box. And so, yeah, we did that. And, you know, we're realigning our wording on the back of the box too. I don't know if you guys can see that. That's some of the cool things. So make it so everybody knows it's water resistant, you know? And so it's cool. But tell everybody that you can use the speaker on wood, plastic, and glass. It's not just for metal surfaces. I mean, my gosh, I put this little ring. I got that on my kayak and I float down the river with my speaker. So I'll take my speaker and stick it right on there. So I got music going down the river, right? So there's so many features you can do with this speaker. It goes everywhere.
I have it on my cabinets in my little, I made like a little sports room in my workshop, and I put them on the cabinets. It's great. Outside, I have metal tables. I put them outside. It just
exactly.
and it gives like a good. When I put it in the corner, it just gets, you know, more reflection. It's kind of what Bose made their living off of, right? The noise acoustic reflections. Same thing. It works. So I love the fact that you didn't take it personal, right? You didn't. Oh, they want to change my packaging. You didn't take it personal, right? You said, "Oh, I'm going to give them what they need."
No, I'll tell you what. I know my strength. I know my weaknesses, and I can put it right online for you. And you know, and I had people help me with my packaging. But you know what? I also had people helping me from international working on it, and I said, "Oh, maybe we need to do this." And I was wrong. You know, I mean, Lowe's came back and said, "No, you need to have a window. Everybody needs, because look at the width difference." And I said, "Well, I take up more real estate." They go, "It's going to sell. Trust me, it's going to sell more than this one because people knows what it is and they get to see the color." And speaking of color, I gave you guys a cool color one. Did you guys get that?
I have that one. You gave me the blue one. That's my paste blue. It's the color of my company.
Yeah,
Paste
that's a
blue,
cool
baby.
one.
You guys like the color?
Yeah, it was awesome.
So
Yeah,
talk about that a little bit now. Let's talk about, okay, so now you got this product that's out there. Everyone wants to do 300 SKUs. Oh, I want to launch it. I want to have 17 different colors, 14 different versions of the speaker color and the bass color. I always say, no, focus on getting your brand out. Start BMW, when they launch cars, they launch 2 colors. Your typical black and then another color. They don't launch all the colors up front. They get media cars out. They get launch cars out. So I say the same thing with products. Get your product launched. Get your packaging right. Then you can add all your SKUs. I talk about your wraps. You can do wraps around that speaker, right?
Yeah, but let's go with the colors first. So here's the 3 colors, right? So these are the 3 that we ran with. We ran with black, pink, and silver, right? You're absolutely right about what you just said. Why do I need all these SKUs, right? More inventory. Which one's going to sell? Which one's going to move?
Hard to manage.
Exactly. So black is
and it's a cash
silver are
drain.
number ones, and then pinks are lowest. We don't move pink that much, but when we do a women's show, everybody buys pink. I mean, pink's great for Mom's Day, Valentine's Day, Easter. You know,
Probably I would guess October, breast cancer awareness.
breast cancer awareness. We do it for that. So pink is great for that. But you know what? There's a time frame that it works, and so you got to find that happy medium. But we found that silver, being so unique, is actually our number 1 color. So, and that's why I asked you guys about the blue. Should I bring out blue? Should I bring out blue? Because I don't want all these SKUs. That's more inventory. Then you got to worry about it. But
I mean, it's more time to manage. It's more cash. right? Because each one of these is a separate entity. So you have to hold it and you have to manage it accordingly. But it's great. You got it launched. You got people interested in it now, because now you're going to get other retail people. Home Depot's going to see it and go, oh, how do I get that? Or maybe Walmart, right? All these options.
Yeah, well, we do wraps. We're looking at the promotional industry right now. Like right here, here's a speaker with, that's our logo. That's one of our logos from the girl that's on a lot of our packaging.
Yeah.
And, you know, and I did this one with a GMC truck and a camper.
Yeah.
You know, you can, so we're looking at that market. It's a totally different market. So when what we need to be careful with is, you know, we're going to enter the retail space. And if I spread myself too far, you know, now if I don't sell through, I got to take all these back, right?
Yep.
There's all these, it's a sliding scale of chargebacks. So I have to be careful. So I got one big fish on the line, and I got to take my affordable steps of which way I can go, right? Because I don't want to bury myself where I'm over my head. So if I got a big fish, if it's Lowe's or another big box store, you know, that fills that area. So what other areas can I go? Well, I can go into promotionals. I can go into licensing if I wanted to, but licensing is so expensive. I've been there. I've done that, you know, with Disney in the past. I developed.
Everyone
stuff.
makes it sound like, oh my God, if you're working for a living, just license it. Like it's a piece of cake. And then I asked him, how much money have you made in 3 years? Oh, I was supposed to make money?
Yeah, I'll tell you what, those Disney licenses are
extremely
$100,000.
expensive.
Yeah, you'll spend 100 grand there, then you got to give them 15 to 15.5%. Trust me, I love Disney. I love their products. I love the way they market and stuff. They got great consumers, that fan base. It's no difference if I go to Major League Baseball, hockey, or football, right? That fan base is there, but you got to pay to play. And if you're going to do that business, someone told me, you don't jump in that business unless you have $1 million purchase order. Wow. Because that's the only way you're going to get your money back.
Right. No, absolutely. And I think about this, right? Like you talk about managing inventory and how important colors are, right? That's all important. But talk about, like, everyone thinks, oh, that's pretty cool. You got into Lowe's. Well, they don't realize that, like, you're not going to get paid for 90 to 120 days. So you've shipped your inventory, by the way. You own it. That's your cash somewhere on somebody's truck. You hope they don't lose it. You hope they receive it, because I find even when they do receive it, you load it on the truck, that's not the answer. They have to receive it in the stores for you to get paid. So if somebody steals it, I mean, I'm going all day with this, but you don't get paid for 90 to 120 days after you load it on the truck, which again is another major cash.
Well, I'll give you another one that we've learned. You know, it was a hard lesson learned. And we thought we get paid 60 days when we leave port, right? So we're shipping overseas, and, you know, and thought when it left our dock, day one starts, right? No, it didn't start until it was in their warehouse.
So it arrives
in their warehouse. So think of that. So when we were shipping in that big tobacco with the ships, you know, they're all just sitting out there going around and around. Nobody could get into port. So here's our product sitting out there for months. I mean, months. It took us almost a year to get paid. So because of the delay, and it almost crushed us, literally crushed us. And so, yeah, there's some things you got to know the terms, you got to know the conditions, and boy, you better understand that sliding scale, because it's coming back if it doesn't sell through. And so that's some of the things that we've learned, hard lessons learned, you know, and it got us, but it's these new entrepreneurs, inventors, and everybody, it's not that easy. I'll be honest with you.
And I try to, you know, I always try to be upfront. I don't want to break anybody's excitement or energy when they're launching these things. But like, especially when you're launching them, I'm always like, what's your budget? What's your cash look like? Because here's how it's going to play out. Like, you have a great product, you still got to get it marketed, you still got to get it packaged, you got to have a website, you got to get all your SKUs. If you're looking for a barcode, you got to get packaging, you got to get shipping, bulk boxes, you got to ship it in, you have a label. All of that is cost. All of that is cost. Like, not just what your part cost. Everything you're going to put on the dock is actual cost. And you really need to understand that and bring it down as low as you can, so you can effectively sell it at the right margins in retail. Because you know retail is going to get you for 45, 50% right off the top for wholesale price. Then you got to
Yeah.
manage all the returns. You got to manage every day the production control system. How many are being ordered? What are they ordering? Is it drop ship? Is it LTL pickup? It's not what everyone thinks it really is. And like you said, until you get into it, and then you realize, oh my God, I'm out there with all this cash. Now I'm holding inventory and I have product that's on a truck that I'm not being paid for yet. So it's
Yeah,
a lot of cash flow that you have to
a lot of
consider.
people don't understand age money, you know.
Mhm.
We definitely learned it in automotive, didn't we? I mean,
No,
there's no doubt we
absolutely.
threw out a lot of money, and we were counting the days how we were aging, being paid and stuff, and that all comes and takes it right off the bottom line. I mean, no
Hey, I
doubt.
was tracking inventory by minutes, right? When I start really getting into the lean, when you're doing tool changes,
Yeah,
like you're not building 4 days of inventory, you're building 4 hours of inventory, you're changing tools, you're moving that part to the next operation. So it's all throughput, it's all cash, literally.
Right.
How fast you can burn it, how quick you can make your turns go, how low your inventory changes are. That's why I tell people they buy a BMW on Monday. The following Monday, if there's an engineering changes because there's no freezes, your car may be different. You may not know it. Maybe a clip,
Yeah.
maybe something that was a change that the tool had to be pulled, modified, because there may have been an issue as they launched it, but there are no design freezes. That's one thing I love about BMW. They put the pressure on all the groups to continue to ship, so they're getting paid. And if there's a change, they do a running change. It's never
Yeah.
a freeze. Like Ford would lock it for media cars. Design freeze is over. You get your media cars out. Your changes are 3 months down the road. So I mean,
Yeah.
it's a little bit here. Cash is a big deal when you're launching products.
Yeah, I did that with GM also. When we were working with GM, I mean, we had rev changes on the Cadillac and stuff. I totally get what you're saying. And a lot of these guys don't know that. And that's why, where we can try to help them because, you think you're going to make 50% or, 40%, whatever it is when you go into retail. But after that, slide and scale. And if it doesn't sell through, and then you pay for part of the marketing, you pay for, the returns, the damages, the warranties, all that. Then when they ship it back, I'm getting billed for all that. And you got to subtract that off the top, right? And eventually,
I'm saying you got to really know all your costs.
costs.
All your costs you have to know. And
Yeah.
my general thing I always tell Carmine, like, don't go running in that pool and jumping in unless you know how to swim. You don't know what's in that water. First of all, you got to know how to swim. And then you got to really watch what's in the water, right? Like you just said, that it's one thing to have costs and then ship it. You know that, right? But then you don't know what's coming back or how it's going to sell, which is a whole nother element of cost.
Well, you know what else is really interesting? What's going on today at the big box stores? They're looking for ways to save costs too. Everybody is right now, right? So they're being strategic. The distributors out there are wanting to have those developed relationships, and they have them, right? But then you got the big box guys that are trying to work around them and go direct, and so they're beating us up from both ends. Oh yeah, ask the distributor and then see if you can buy it direct from a different link. So we're seeing some strategic moves from a lot of people. It's really, someone for us, we're a small company, right? We need an army of people to handle these big projects like this. Either we got to outsource it or hire a bunch of people in. And that's, again, now your margins are really shrinking, right? So somewhere you got to draw the line where you want to go. So that's the kind of the pain that we're feeling right now. So it's like, I'm an engineer, I'm an inventor, I can come up with anything or make something better, but retail is not my core. So when we talk about weakness, that's actually my weakness. It's a learning curve. And I'll tell you what, I've learned the hard way. I just explained, we got these chargebacks and all this. I watch my money age, I don't want to feel that pain. I mean, I don't have the experience. So I got to sit there and learn the terms. Let someone else run with that.
The quote of the year for me was my wife. I was throwing a bunch of money in retail. She said, "You're crazy. Why are you doing that?" I'm saying there's a little bit of a risk, but I know what the reward could be. So I'm going to manage it accordingly. And you have to really manage it. That's the key, is like all of it. You have to manage how much you're shipping in, what you're getting back in returns, how it's selling through at each store location. Because, you might find your product does really well in certain areas of the country and not others. Right. But so you want to capitalize on the one where it is selling through good. Maybe it's got better traffic. Maybe just your type of product is better for that market.
Yeah.
You have to manage all of it.
The thing is when you're small like us, right? We're a small team. So if all my energy is being used in the retail space, you know, and I'm learning, it's costing me more money to be over there when I can put someone else in that place and say, hey, help me take care of this side of the business, because I'm going to keep advancing the technology. Like I say, you know, I'm going to make the next best rev. So I already made the Liddle Speaker Pro. We're moving on to that. And then we'll go on to the next level, because you can't, every product, every entrepreneur doesn't understand this. Every product has a life expectancy. What is your term before this thing fizzles out? And that's why you always got to make something better. And that's why I always say, file a continuation patent, because you can make the next better rev. Everything we all bring out, it comes in stages. And if you're not doing that, this thing may be dead in 2 years. Someone else made something better. So me personally, if I'm throwing all my energy and managing a retail account, I'm not making the next best product. So I like to kind of like hand the football off, just like we did in automotive, to the next group, let them manage it. That's what their expertise is. And then you bring out the next one, the next one, and next one. And so that's the way I visualize our company. And that's how I try to structure everything with all of our intellectual properties. So when I say I got all these patents in audio, video, and electronic charging, I mean, we harvest energy out of the air and convert it to DC. I don't want to ever plug in ever again. My long-term goal is eliminate the power cord. Why throw these things in the landfills? We don't need to do that. I see it as a big waste. It's environmental hazards. So, I mean, this won't decompose for 500 years. So my goal is everything moving fast to the future. And that's what I like to see myself do and other people sell, because yeah, I can sell, I can pitch, but managing big accounts like that and the risk factor, someone else has to mitigate that for me.
Hey, real quick, to jump in. I know we only have a few minutes left. I get a lot of questions about how to figure out pricing and what to tell the retailers. Some people think that when the retailers ask them about costs, they need to jack that cost up because the retailer is going to try to bring those costs down. What's the best way to figure out the costs, and what do the retailers do when you give them those costs?
Yeah, that's a great question, Carmine. So when we launched the Liddle Speaker, you can look at speakers online and they go anywhere from, $30 to $100 or more, start looking at some of the high-end brands. But we had to look at what makes us different. Do we bring something novel to the table? And I said, yes, we do. Well, we have a magnet. They don't have a magnet. We can take ours. Ours is portable. Does it sound good? But when I pair two of these things together, right, I got total surround sound, right? So this made me different. So we transfer data twice as fast. We go 4 times the distance compared to old speaker technology. That is all important to evaluate your cost, but will the market pay for it? You're absolutely right. So what we did is we put an MSRP of $39.99 on our product, and we said, let's see if it sells, right? You got to start high and come down. It sold, nothing major, nothing major at all. But then we lowered it down to $29.99, showing us a 25% discount. Boom, sales were boom, 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 boom. I'm getting a quality sound speaker, something small, and I can compare with that $100 speaker that sounds just as good, but I can take it with me on the go. I can throw it in my bag, throw it in my purse, take it to the beach. It's water resistant, So that was our sweet spot there. But then what we did learn is we do a lot of shows. We'll do conferences and sell. And when we're in front of people, so now we're trying to find out the volume pricing, right? Because we're looking at the big box, because they're going to beat us up, right? We already know that. So if I was to say and go to a show and I offer my speaker for $25 for one, right? And then you go buy it on Amazon for $30, people would buy $25 all day long. But you know what else? If I said, if you buy 5, I'll give it to you for $100 at $20 a piece, people would throw down $100 all day long to get 5 gifts. So that set our price point where we're now looking at, hey, we can sell for $19.95 at major volume, right? Or we can do $24.99, or we can make more and do less at $29.99. there's like 3 brackets. Where do you want to be, right? You want the volume to sell 1 million of these, or do you want to be, just fat and feeling great at $24.99, or you want to just work a little bit and do $20.99 and still make the same amount at the end of the day? So you got to ask yourself where you want to be. And then the retailers would come back and say, I think it needs to be this. And that's where we're going through right now, actually right now today.
Yeah, I think that you hit it on the head. Like there's multiple brackets, but end of the day, the retailer has the experience and they're going to tell you where they think yours fits their business model that will sell and make them money.
That's right. You're absolutely right. And so, because I'll drive volume their way, we know how to do ads on social media and drive traffic. We had videos that gone viral before. We had influencers talk. We can drive the traffic to that real retailer. We can always hold our price at $29.99 online on Amazon. But I'll tell you what, if the retailer sells out, it's a demand, right? So then we're good. But if I don't sell out at the retailer, that means I'm getting them back and it's costing me money. Yeah. Now I'm losing money. So you got to be careful. So you got to know how to push the traffic and set the right price so it does move. And the market's a little shaky right now. So, with everything that's going on, so everybody's watching the market.
And it's important to have pricing, right? That's mapped, so you're not competing with yourself. Well, let's close on the UIA. Our shows we've done, obviously, where we met you for the first time. Let's talk about what you had a chance to pitch 2 panels, as well as be on a panel and get pitched to. How do you see that for inventors? Because the feedback has been tremendous.
Oh, you know what, guys? I say bless your souls for what you're doing. I mean, never had this in my time, my career, where I had so many people around me where the synergies felt so good and we all can relate to each other. I mean, we can talk to each other. We've been down the road of pain. We try to share lessons learned. In automotive, that's all we ever did. What's the lessons learned? I get that feedback when every time I go to one of our events, and if I can pitch, I'm learning from people on the stage that says, hey, Dan, why don't you do this, and, I'm all ears. Again, I know my strength, I know my weaknesses. Everybody has different experiences. So what you guys done is wonderful. The people, the friendship that I made now, there's so many of us that are working now together and communicating and helping each other out. That's what I love. Now, when I was on stage and people were pitching to me, I can share, I can look at a product and just say, as a reverse engineer, the first thing I'm going to ask you out of your mouth, do you have a patent? Is there a trademark? All right. Have you filed a continuation filing on this patent if you were awarded? If not, you better file one. So, because that's how you got to build up your intellectual properties and stuff. But being up there and helping those people, it was a great feeling. I actually got an event coming up this week, actually, where I got school kids asking me to do a Zoom call with them. And how do you think of products? What do we got to do, as a young age? We're looking at, 4th, 5th graders that the teachers trying to explain to them and asking me to be on their Zoom to help others out, and create that entrepreneur mindset of creativity, because it is available here. All of us have it. We just don't know how to apply it properly. And that's what your show does. It helps us learn to apply properly and get everything in front of the right people. Because if you don't know how to pitch, ask one of us. We'll teach you. You're looking for money? I'll tell you what I did, But you don't get that experience. Here's where you need to go. Like I say, I try to help everyone.
Yeah, I think it's great. We've been working with children for a while now, and pitch to the pros is what I want to frame it as, the trademark name, pitch to the pros, because it really is. You get great feedback, and where in the world could you pitch to Aaron Krause, Scrub Daddy, a $700 million company now that started out at 100,000. We have a whole group of people like that are wanting to give back and help. So, Dan, the information today is invaluable. Like your lessons learned and what you bring to the inventor community is amazing. What you're doing is amazing. So we thank you for being on the show. And I hope everyone that's listening really gets a good piece, especially on that packaging stuff that you showed. Because that is something that I can't preach enough. When a buyer tells you to make a change, like you should already leave his office thinking about the change and how you're going to
Exactly.
get it implemented.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with you. No, it's been great, guys. It's good seeing you. I'm not sure when our next event is, but I'm sure we'll catch up.
We'll keep you in the loop. Absolutely.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Thank you so much, Dan. It's great stuff, and congratulations on the Lowe's. I can't wait to walk into Lowe's and see your product there. I'm going to send you a picture of me standing next to him.
Yeah, likewise.
The
Yeah, it's
little
exciting
speaker
time.
with the big noise.
Yeah, man, that was awesome. Some of your presentations at the houseware show were awesome. Playing the speaker through, and man, those things are loud. I love it. So very cool. Well, listen, everyone. Oh, go ahead, Chris. You had something?
No. I was saying, no, I agree. Like, it's just the sound quality is beautiful.
Yeah, it really is. It's amazing. It's so cool. So, all right. Well, we're going to close up the show today. Shark Tank Effect on the Launch Network. We thank everyone for listening in. For Dan Cass, for Mr. Christopher Guerrero, and myself, Carmen Danisco, we thank you for listening, and we will catch you next time. You all take care.